You don't wait for me, 'cause I keep breathing fire. I won't wait for you, 'cause you keep telling lies. I keep going high, she keeps going low. At the end of the day, she's gone. But you don't wait for me, 'cause I keep breathing fire. And you keep telling lies.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Outcasts to Icons with me, a man with a national C license. You love to see it. Of course, if you've enjoyed the save up to this point, smash the like button, helps out, you know the drill. So yeah, what I'm going to show you on the screen now is the old style manager stats that we had with Kim. And now I'm going to show you over to the new style, so you can sort of see the difference between the two. So now I'm going to fade it in, and you'll see that we have definitely gone up in several areas. Coaching, both in defending and attacking. I think defending's actually gone up by 2, which is pretty sick. Tactical, technical, mental, all that stuff's gone up as well. Determination, I think, has gone up by 1 too, along with player knowledge and just a few little bits in there as well, along with man management and motivation. But key to that as well is the fact that our rep has now gone to 35. Weirdly, it dropped to 25 when we joined the club, but now we are here and it's all good. So not only have we got more rep, we've also got better coaching badges, and I do believe some leagues do require you to have potentially coaching badges in order to manage in them. So that might have been why some of our job opportunities were somewhat stymied. Hopefully, we can get another one this season and go to B license. Now, the board have already turned down my first attempt at doing that. However, once we get a bit of good run of form, touch wood, hopefully we do have a good run of form this season, I'll request it again. So hopefully by the end of the year, we will at least be on a national B license to sort of give us an idea of what we want to do at the end of this year. Because if we were to get promoted and things were looking good, I would be tempted to extend for another year and actually do a year in the Hungarian top flight. Because this period has been like rescue, promote, leave, rescue, promote, leave. And it'd be nice to try and break that cycle, but also it would be interesting to see what these new qualifications and boosts would do for us in the job market. Board were in fact unhappy with the fact that we only got top half. They gave us a D- for that, despite that being the target they set, so that's good. The target this year is top 4, so we definitely are going to have our work cut out, but if our form persists like it did at the end of last season, I think we've got a chance. In other news, Basel reached the Europa Conference League final, so I do believe that's another team that are now off the list. They did lose 3-1 to Everton, with Hertha beating Man City in the Europa League final, and I think Man United winning the Champions League. Can't remember exactly. We may have a look in the next video. But yeah, so Basel, I think, now off the list too. So moving back, you'll see here, this is released players. So we've released these players, and there's also been a further 16 players in total have left the club this summer. Some of them were players that wouldn't have played a great deal. Some of them were players that retired. There's a few players that already had transfers arranged. So the squad, we've brought in a decent number of players, perhaps not as many as normal. Although actually this season with the fixture congestion we're probably likely to have, a bit of a deeper squad is more necessary here than it has been at previous clubs. But we've had to fill in gaps because there have been a lot of players leaving, and the whole squad dynamic has completely switched. We've now got great team cohesion, great team managerial support. Everything's kind of flipped, and we're going into the season in high spirits. Now, with the amount of trial players, because that's how I've had to do transfers this summer, it's just been trials, because we don't have enough scouts to actually do any proper recruitment yet, and that's a real problem. But we've done okay. One of the issues we've had over this period is there's about 7 or 8 players now that I brought in on trial, kept them for the 2 weeks, went, right, I like this guy, put the contract offer in, it's all good, they're perfect for this team, and then it would just hang, and it would be like 2 or 3 weeks sometimes, and then a bid would come in from another club from that player, bam, instant, accept that contract, screw you guys. And that's a bit of an issue, because we've missed out on a lot of players while doing that, but the worst thing about it is some of them are like non-EU players that I've had to basically wait until we find the answer to that before I can go in for another guy. Because, yeah, it's a difficult juggling act, sadly. So we have missed out on some quite good players, particularly a Russian centre-back who would have been amazing for us. And there's been a few other players who've come on trial and then wanted £7,000 a week, which we can't offer. So, a bit frustrating, but I think we've done well. And I don't think this is done yet. Next episode might well be Transfer Special 2, Transfer Harder at this rate, because I think there's a lot more work to be done. So there's Piftor, who I briefly brought on in a game. Annoying to lose him, because I wouldn't have minded keeping him, but he already had a transfer arranged. Liridan Vokai, who actually did move for £31,000, because it just felt like the right deal at the time. Annoyingly, both the double-barreled bellends are still here. No club will... One of the clubs have bid for them, and they have turned down the contracts. Peepush is probably the only other player that you'll have actually sort of heard of properly that has left. I'll show you the others after, so it doesn't spoil the transfers. The first of which, Christian Nandori, extended his loan for another season. It just felt like the right thing to do, given his performances for us towards the end of last season. It wasn't going to cost us much to keep him around, so at the time I thought just for safekeeping, it was best to keep him in the squad, and so we have. And then there's Filip Mikhailov, a Belarusian left-back, who I am just stoked with. I can't believe this guy signed for us. £1,000 a week to join us. He was released by Siska, and I can't even fathom why he would want to come to play for us, because he's actually really, really good. He's definitely going to give Deutsch a run for his money this season. And I know it's not even a position that we were super lacking in depth. Well, actually, we were lacking in depth, but we already had a really good starter. But when an opportunity comes up to sign a player like this on a free, on not enormous money either, I couldn't really resist. Plus, he's Belarusian, and you know we love a Belarusian around here. So I honestly think that on a free transfer, this guy is an absolute boss. Still only 21, could improve further, great physicals, lots of great mental attributes, great passing, solid-ish tackling as well, positioning's decent, marking's solid, crossing and dribbling aren't fantastic, but they're also okay for a fullback. So I am ecstatic with this guy, and he will take up one of the non-EU spots, but I was happy to let it go at this point because he is brilliant. Next up is a loan signing. We're not going to really see this guy. I was in a position where I basically just needed some centre-backs because we'd had 4 consecutive deals fall through for centre-backs, and that's one of the key areas that I really wanted to improve. Took a punt on a guy on a loan, which we couldn't really see much beyond his value. A regrettable deal, but he'll be sent back to his club as soon as possible. But the other loan signing that's coming is Apostolos Geladaris, who's a Czech centre-back. Now, I think he's pretty solid. Heading's not spectacular, but he does have good jumping reach, good height, good tackling, very, very good tackling, in fact, and good marking to go with it, on loan from Slavia for the rest of the season, so that's fine. I brought those 2 guys in at the same time. Thankfully, one of them's turned out to be at least capable as it goes, and so I was happy to do that, as they were. I think they're actually, I don't know if we're paying nothing or whether they're regardless, it's not a big deal in terms of money anyway, so I was happy to let that deal be done. I've got a couple more centre-back deals in the pipeline. Hopefully they will work out this time. There's a big Ghanaian centre-back I'm looking at who will probably be able to play alongside one of these guys, so that'd be nice too. Next up is Antel Furko. Now, weird one. He was playing for Zimbru Chisinau over in Moldova, and we took him in on trial originally because I thought we might be able to loan him or something for the season, but then he was released at the end of the year. Now, there's definite problems with this guy. Make no mistake about it. Finishing isn't spectacular, but then we've already seen that it's not the be-all and end-all. Composure isn't great either, but he does have nice physicals. He's got great work rate and teamwork, which means actually, as a pressing forward, he's pretty good if you kind of ignore that. But the key stuff, he's got quite down to a T. So to have Antel Furko here as well, just to give Grecio a bit of competition, another player we can rotate around on a free transfer. You can see he's on basically no money here as the 20-year-old Hungarian. And I think he's got decent potential for the future. So just getting another striker in to give us a bit of competition for Greco felt like the right thing to do at the time. And for those kind of prices, you can't say no. Next up is Christopher Monti, 25-year-old Danish goalkeeper. He's probably going to be the new starting keeper for us, to be honest. I like Tasvani, I do, and he is still here. But I saw, he seems like he wanted to play for the team, and he's definitely done better than the old double-barreled knobhead. But he did make some errors a few times where I saw him do some rather dodgy stuff, and I feel like a goalkeeper with, maybe he's got high eccentricity, I don't know. A goalkeeper more like Christopher Monti can come in and do a job for us, and I think he'll just be a steady hand at the back that might be what we need to sort of see us through this season. So 25-year-old Danish goalkeeper, Christopher Monti, and his surname's Monti, that's quite cool. 1.6k a week. I really like him. Again, all of these are free transfers. I don't think I've actually spent a single penny yet on this save in terms of actual transfers. Came through at FC Copenhagen as well, so pretty solid goalkeeper, I'd have to say. Solid enough reflexes, great aerial reach as well, which would be really useful from corners, coming to claim stuff, I feel like. So yeah, happy with him. Then Musa Bagayoko, a Malayan midfielder. Now, one of the things with him and with the midfield in general is we had 2 really good players, Jurisic and Tolic. But beyond that, it dropped off pretty quickly. You had to go to Mutavcic and players like that, and it was always going to be a bit of a tough one this season, given that I know that at the start of the year, there's way more fixtures. The league seems to be a bit hotter before Christmas, and you've got the cup matches in there too. So I knew that we were going to have to rotate the squad around a little bit, and I felt it was important to have at least, like what we had last year at Ermis, where we could have 4 or 5 players in that role that we could just sort of move around as and when we needed them to. Next up is Lucas Scavoni. Now, he is not a player for us really yet this season, but sometimes when a player of this kind of quality appears, even though I know that he's going to be able to do absolutely sod all for us currently at Szeged, and he's probably not going to see anything in terms of football while we're actually at the club. But I felt like, 5-star potential player, 2 stars at 18 years old, maybe just a good quality option that they could use in the future, make some money off of, just have a player that could come through and actually do something kind of cool for them. So that was mainly my decision making on this one. Next up, Nicholas Strunk, another Dane. There's a few Danes available. Now, he does lack a few of the physical side of things, but again, my main decision making behind him was that I wanted a player who was a bit more natural as a ball-winning midfielder to come in there, since Koroyan didn't come back on loan. I wanted to make sure we had definite options in there. Great mental attributes too. Marking's pretty decent. Good teamwork, good work rate. Tackling's not spectacular, but it'll be okay. He's not the most mobile player, but but he does at least have a little bit of aerial presence. He's on £300 a week as a fringe player, just to give us more depth in that midfield. And I think paying that kind of money for this kind of quality of player is pretty good business for us, because I didn't want to put the club in financial difficulties, and that's certainly not what's happened this summer. Though a few of the players that are coming in later have got slightly more inflated wages, because there's still a few more to come in. And one of the biggest, in multiple ways, is Umar Sejgin. Now, I was looking at... I noticed we had our two strikers, and they were both kind of similar types of player, i.e. pretty diminutive, not super quick, but had a different approach to things. And then when Umar Sejgin came in, I thought this might be the type of player that we could have where he may not start every game, and that's fine. He's a regular starter. He'll expect to play a little bit, but he's got decent acceleration, 13 finishing, 13 composure. He does lack the work rate because that's just not the type of player he is, but he's 6'5", which means it's a completely different type of player to have up front, which means we can lump those balls up, and he probably will be able to challenge just about any centre-back in this league to win those headers for us. He's got great heading to get on the end of crosses. It's just a different option that we could bring on in games and trying to shake things up a little bit, because I do find that sometimes that's an area where we've struggled a little bit. He's here. He's bloody here. Regan Booty is a Szeged player. So basically, I originally tried to get him in, and he wouldn't have it. He said that we didn't meet the financial clout. We already knew about that. At the end of the season, or as coming up to that point, he essentially said, well, we were able to enter contract talks, but he wanted like 4k a week, which is just way beyond what he should be getting. And I don't know how he could even demand that, given that he'd been playing for Barrow the last season, but sure. But then when he was actually released by Ermis, the bastards doing things like that, I went back in again, and he was able to negotiate with us a lot more this time around. So I was happy to bring him in. This might be the last time that we're actually able to do this, but I felt that it was worth it just for the memes alone. Regan Booty is a player in Hungary, 27-year-old Regan Booty, on £2,400 a week, I realised. But we had so much squad, we actually have a lot of wage budget left. We've got 20,000 left, so it's not too bad. And we've seen the success we can have with Regan Booty in the past, so I'm happy to bring him in. He may not start for us, and I think it's unlikely, but nevertheless, he's here anyway, and hopefully he'll have a great time over in Hungary. It's hard not to bring in the Booty man, isn't it? And that actually concludes our current transfers, but I might actually now just take you on a little tour and show you if there's any more players that are in the process of joining us that you might be excited about soon. Because we also have a deal put together for John Otu, who was released by Internacional de Madrid after coming through at Dreams FC in Ghana. Now, some of the cool things about certain African countries count as EU, and there's a few players I was able to get around it with by the fact that they weren't from EU countries, but they came through at EU clubs, so it still counts. And I like this guy again. 15 marking, 14 tackling, solid-ish in the air with a little bit of speed to go with it. Heading's only 10, but I think just to bring in another player like this would be a pretty solid deal to actually give us a bit more centre-back depth, and he would definitely be the best centre-back at the club, because that's one of the areas where I was a little bit unsure of. So today, we start off against Kaposhvari, who I think we beat 5-1 in like the previous video. A few players we got on loan, as you can see, on trial. Kane Seedorf as well. I believe he's surely related to Clarence, so he could be a right back option, although I can actually play on the right hand side as well, so exciting news there. But yeah, we'll ignore this for now and go with that, and then I'll try to sort of botch it together and see who's actually available. So you can see that squad depth and squad size hasn't really changed a lot. If anything, it's actually gotten smaller, I'd say. So that's fine, because I feel like overall the quality of the squad has massively improved, and I'm totally okay with that. So what do I want to go with for today is the big question for me. So the three non-EU players in the team at the moment are Bosic, Jurisic, and Mikhailov. Now that does of course mean Regan Booty can't be in the squad for this, but there'll obviously be rotation, so that's not going to be an issue, because I don't think there are any other non-EU. No, so there's only 4 players, so one of them will be left out each time, but that's fine. As for the bench though, I definitely want Tolic to be on it, although I think I'd probably actually rather start him, if I'm honest. Although maybe it is worth giving out Bagayoko a try here, just to see how he does. And maybe actually putting Strunk on the bench instead of Furco for today. That way we've got the option. So we've got midfield on the bench, left back, left-sided player, striker, centre-back, centre-mid, and a different type of centre-mid. I think it's a nice mix that we've got. I think the starting 11 definitely feels stronger for me, even though there's a lot of similar players in it. I think the squad is just stronger overall. I do think, though, that signing someone like Otu, centre-back-wise, would just give us that little bit of a boost that we need. So we can have Geladaris and him in the centre-back spots, rather than having to rely on someone like Nzi. Although the centre-backs didn't do too badly last season, but I felt there was room for improvements there. Now, match fitness is still not spectacular yet, and it's going to take us a few games to really build that up, so I do expect that the season is going to... I think we're going to be a slow starting side this year. One of the other problems with bringing players in on trial is that you have to play them in matches to get a better knowledge of them a lot of the time, and it's nice to try them out anyway, but that means that you're constantly rotating the squad around. So I do expect to see the first 4 or 5 games perhaps not be perfect, but I think we've got plenty of time to make up for it if we can get the same kind of form that we had last year towards the end. I don't know how long that unbeaten run was, but it felt good. So let's do this. I'm excited. We know what happened when we played them last. I'm almost certain in the last video it was 5-1. Now, that's not to say it will happen again, but they are looking like they're playing the same system, and I think we're slightly better than we were. So this will be a very, very interesting one for us. It's even at home. If we can put up even a vaguely good performance of that same kind of level, then I'll be very excited to see what this team's got in the tank for us this season. Now, some good sides seem to have come down from the top flight, so I think top 4, which is what the board expect, is going to have to be our sort of target, but we'll judge it when we get closer to it, because it's always going to be difficult to work out what we expect to do this season at such early stages. Oh, nearly. Nice little idea, though, from Kovacic. So it's been a similar story to the last time we played them, just with less intensity, I think, is the key right now. So we're maintaining the possession as we were before, dominating them for the most part. Well, that's should be easy for the goalkeeper. Oh, my God. I don't know how the keepers missed that. Monty, man, what are you doing? This is their first shot. Oh, God. What is it with goalkeepers in general? Asvanya, get your boots on, son. Maybe there's a chance for you to come back into this team. I don't know how he's not got this. He's massive favourite for this, surely. That looks like it went through his body. All right, must have gone over his shoulder. Well, I mean, we literally did nothing since their goal. Quite simply, we were doing all right, slowly building into the game, and then bam. Goal, and we're losing to their only shot on target. But hey, we're only at half-time. It's not like we're going to do that again, right? Plenty of time to pull ourselves back into this match. We've definitely, you can see that we're not fully ready to go at the moment, and I feel like it will just take us a few games to get settled in. Well, that's my hope anyway. I mean, bear in mind, a lot of the actual personnel in the squad or in this team right now are actually very similar to last season. In fact, there's very few changes currently, really. A couple ones that in theory should make us better. It's the bench where I think really is where the depth now lies. As Grecio's in, and that oh, come on. It's an open goal, mate. Nearly. Easily won. And we go again. About to make some changes as well to get some more fresh legs on, like Nandori and people like that. And also try out the new striker. Back at Yogo! Oh, okay, not bad. That's a shot on target, I suppose. The game's come thick and fast at the start of the season, so I don't suppose that match fitness is going to be long before it gets to full fitness again, which is just as well, really. Nandori. It's found Stahl, actually. Hopefully he doesn't shoot or anything. Osvath. This is where we need that goal, that striker to be big. We need Irma to do his thing. Can he get the shot away? And he does get the shot away, but the keeper's there. At least he hit the target. Go on, get in on him. Yes, lad. Great work from Bagayoko. Go on, son. Show me a bit of speed. The other guy's on the ground as well, which is definitely going to help us. Can he find the pass, though? He does! Oh, and Irma's in there and gets the shot away, but well blocked by the defender. Osvart's ball through, and Stahl with the back post header finds a 90th minute equaliser. Yeah, a draw isn't a spectacular result given what we did last year, but we are still finding some teething problems, I think. And I think we'll be fine after a few games. You've seen it all before, how when we bed these teams in, it just takes a few games to get that momentum going, and then once we're off, we're off. But Stahl with the back post header gets us the equaliser. So yes, it looks like it's going to be a 1-1 draw here. At least we haven't lost to them. I suppose there's that. But it's still very disappointing to once again concede off of our opponent's only shot on target, particularly when it was in such a horrendous way. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Really. I'm very glad that we at least managed to pull out a draw from that, because that would have been shocking otherwise. Monty did not exactly cover himself in glory in that, to be fair, but like, what can you do when they score their only shot on target? We've got to be better defensively, and I think one of these things where we'll have other games where we'll win when we shouldn't do, so I'm not worried. I think we've played okay. Still got a bit better, but it's fine. Particularly with Debrecen being in the second tier this season. That's the sort of thing. I mean, these were the other guys that were relegated as well. So you can see that there's definitely some quality among the top two. So it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get into that promotion battle. But I still think that over the course of the full season, if we can slowly grind away, you know how it goes, I think we'll be in and around those places. Maybe not challenging for the title, but I think we've got a squad that's, and hopefully can improve too, good enough to challenge up there. I mean, you can see right now, it's Saturday, Wednesday for a long time in the rest of August. It is a full action-packed one. So we'll obviously be doing Ivantsha, and then obviously, well, why not do Debrecen as well? It really does hit the ground running. We're going to need this squad as much as possible right now. So, if you've enjoyed this, drop a like. That'd be superb. If you're new to the channel, 2.2k as well. Subscribe, that'd be sick too. And I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so go follow there as well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably with some more signings, and hopefully we can just grind our way in. We haven't lost, so I'll take that. Thank you so much for watching. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.